Hey there, welcome to NZ Money Karma, where you can find freedom from the daily grind through budgeting, simple living, and adventure. There is no doubt that I live a really lucky and privileged life, and that by being, a natural saver and learning to be frugal, I've been able to create opportunities for myself and my family that I think many other people in my income bracket wouldn't be able to do potentially. So I thought it might be interesting for you guys to see what I spend in a week, because I think so very often people equate frugality with cheap or frugality with poor. And frugality for me is none of those things. It's just being very strategic with the money that you have. Like, I make this dollar, what do I want to do with it? Well, the very first thing I'm doing is investing it. So join me this week and have a look at every single dollar I spent, what I spent it on, where it went, and let me know in the comments below if it looks like more than you would have thought or less than you would have thought. It's Monday and I've just been out to do the Easter egg shopping. I've got some little tiny ones for an Easter egg hunt, 2 bigger ones that are for kind of like the final prize, and marshmallow Easter eggs, which you can see I've already broken into while I was biking home. They're my favourite. They'll just kind of go into an Easter basket. And while I was at the warehouse, I found these shower gels, and they are a really good price. They were 3 for $5. I bought a little one like this to give to my kids, each of them to take away while they were going around a school thing, and even one of those was about $7 and something. So I've got 1.5 litres, so 3 litres all up for $10, and I spent, hopefully you can see that, $25.76. So the shower gels all up were $9.96. The hollow bunnies were $3.80. The marshmallow eggs, they were $8. And the little eggs, $4. So that's the first money I've spent this week. Okay, so second day of what I'm spending this week. Today I spent, you see that? $149.56. And this is what I got. Really nothing very exciting. I had to get chicken layer pellets. I think I can get them cheaper elsewhere, but then that meant I had to come home and then go back out and drive again. And I just thought, you know what, I'm sure by the time I factor in petrol and all that kind of stuff, I'm better just to buy this 10 kg. So I've bought these. I'll see how they go. When I get my bike trailer, it won't be an issue because I'll be able to make those multiple trips. So toilet paper, some tuna, bit of salami for sandwiches, some tasty cheese. I've bought the smaller tasty cheese rather than a kg. It's only 500 grams there. But that's the only one that was under $10. And I just don't want to buy the other cheese because it just tastes so gross to me that I think I'd rather just not have cheese. The meat was all on special. So $20.99, $3.99 for some schnitzel. There's not enough really there for a meal, but I could chop it up. This is what I'm thinking. I'll chop it up into small bits and do a stir fry with that. That's probably going to be tonight's tea. Then I got some chicken. That wasn't on special though, but that's $15.99 a kg, which is the cheapest free-range chicken that I can find. And here, coffee for my husband. That was on sale, but you know, that's fast becoming a bit of a treat, isn't it? Cocoa powder, because I did some baking yesterday and I'm on to my last bag. And then fake Milo. I just put that in a jar and call it Milo. A couple of rices, a few tins, not much though. You know, just 2 of everything. 2 baked beans, 1 spaghetti. That's some crushed chili. Some tomatoes and some chili beans, and then I got buns. I did make hot cross buns yesterday, but I can't do the crosses very well, and for some reason this is very important to everybody that they have a good cross on the top. So my buns don't have any crosses on them. They are just like a hot cross bun, and I will eat them Everyone else would prefer to have a hot cross bun with an actual cross. So that's fine. They were only $2 for the 6, and there's some brioche ones that'll get us through Easter. Now these are things I never buy outside of Easter, so they are very specific Easter treats. Yeah, so that's what I've spent this morning, and I don't envisage having to spend anything else today. And conversely, everything, we spend money, but we also get an enormous amount for free. So I've got cherry tomatoes up there from the garden. I just picked the last of the cherry tomatoes and hung them with a string there so they could ripen as they need to. I picked up a few feijoas because they're starting to come on. We've got the lemons there from my neighbour. And I also picked up a heap of apples this morning that had fallen off the tree. The kind of gross ones, no one would eat them as they are because they have a bit of codling moth or they have a bruise. So I just chopped them up and they're already in the apple crumble. And here's some Easter gifts for our neighbours. There's eggs from our own chickens and a few little Easter eggs tucked in there as a wee Easter present. Just came back from the bin in and I spent $8.10. I got some ginger, I got some golden sultanas, and what I wanted was mixed peel, but I couldn't get that in bulk. So I just saw these wasabi peanuts and I thought they'd be nice. And I ate one and I didn't think it was nice, so I'm glad I only bought a few just to try. So $8.10. Now I better go and make those hot cross buns. So another thing I spent money on was $33. Not here for the pendant, but for the chain. So I bought the two things separately, and that's a birthday gift for my daughter. Love it. I think she's going to be so happy with that. So this is day 5, and I've just spent $141 on an entry ticket for the Christchurch Marathon for one of my children. They're going to be doing the half marathon. They're super fit and really keen to give this a go, and I really wanted to support them in that. It has been a stretch though, because money is kind of tight at the moment. So I did have to say that next year, if we're going to do this, we need to get in early so we're not paying the late fee for sure. That was my fault really. Just being more organised. But the very last thing in my budget that I ever want to get rid of is opportunities for my kids. 2 more things bought and consumed. Dishwasher tablets. That's not something we normally buy, but we're having a house sitter, and the house sitters always fill up the dishwasher and then go, oh, I couldn't find any dishwashing tablets. So just to avoid the entire scenario, I've just bought dishwasher tablets for them, and these for, you know what they're for. I don't need to say that out loud and have everyone else here. All up total, see that, $22. Okie doke. $7.50, oops, a bit blurry. $7.50 on 4 litres of milk. We're going away, but I just want to leave some milk there for the house sitter. And there's $50, my final 50 that I'm spending this week. And that's because when a house sitter comes to our house, we like to leave them some money so that if anything pops up, they have some cash there to do it with. If they want to buy some particular groceries that we don't have, they have it. We want them to have a nice experience because we want them to come back and look after our house again. So we're going away for 4 days and I'm leaving $50. And that's it. That is all the money I have spent this week. I would say this is not a particularly typical week. I feel like I have definitely spent more money than I normally would in a week. Oftentimes I go many days without spending a single dollar, but I guess that would be a very boring video. So all up this week I've spent $434.92. How does that compare for your family? Oh, and I should just say that's not just me, what I spend, that's our household spending. So whilst everyone has some spending money for themselves, like the kids have their pocket money and whatever, I haven't included that, but this is our household. So our family of 4, this is our household spending, $434.92. So let me know in the comments below, is that more or less than you would have thought our family of 4 spends in a week? I look forward to catching up with you next time. Bye for now.